Hey guys, how are you? So I just wanted to get on here and try to record a video because I've been very busy all week. So I was watching a video. I kind of thought it was like quite disturbing. It was this other guy's video on YouTube, and it was this mask guy. He was wearing a mask, and he was like talking about being a pimp. But he was talking about how he manipulated women. Okay, how he was able to get women, to be able to pimp them out. Anyway, what really stopped me as I was scrolling was his mask, because it was like ridiculous. One of those scary film masks or whatever. And he had his voice disguised, but he was talking all about what he does to mentally and emotionally manipulate women into his circus ring, okay? And I just was like, wow, like I really hope women who really need to hear it, I hope they really do get a chance to see this or whatever, because the tactics that he used are tactics that are actually used, I have seen, by men. Like just regular men who are not necessarily trying to pimp you out, but in their own way, they want to pimp you out. Like in other words, they may not try to pimp you out for money, but they are trying to get you emotionally hooked, okay? Emotionally. Like they want you on an emotional roller coaster or yo-yo back and forth. And they do, I would say of the men who do this type of thing, because definitely not all men do this, for sure. But of the men who actually do this type of thing, maybe 50% do it on purpose, and maybe the other 50% probably do it like on accident, okay? So let's try to offer some people grace. Now, the first thing, I would say the easiest prey, or woman who would fall prey to this type of thing, is young women, inexperienced women, immature women, women underage, young girls. Definitely might fall victim to this type of emotional manipulation. The second type of woman, young girl or whatnot, would be somebody who maybe never was able to get approval from their parents, one or both of their parents, probably the father, but it could really be either or, depending on maybe who that person is most like. So if an immature young girl, was never able to receive validation from her father or mother or whatever, they will seek approval, guidance, unconsciously, from a similar type of personality. Okay, this is people who don't fall into this type of thing is someone who is consciously aware and does shadow work, right? Like they know maybe their issues, like how they grew up, like they get it, right? They understand a little bit more of psychology or whatever, right? But in any case, this is why it's important as parents that we validate our children, that we tell them that we're proud of them, that we love them, that they're amazing. It's important to do that, because otherwise they will seek that attention and that validation potentially from the wrong person. A lot of times from the wrong person, aka a pimp. Okay, so this is the other type of woman who would easily fall prey to this and what he was saying. So what he was basically saying in a nutshell, I'll have to find the video and try to link it in here. But what he was basically saying was, men who basically love bomb in the beginning, right? Love bomb, or basically, I love you, you're the best, you're amazing, you're everything to me, whatever. They love bomb, okay? And love bombing is intentional, okay? Because you might be the type of person who easily gives out compliments, or you might actually even feel this way about the particular person in front of you. And so you're not a gaslighter. You're not even love bombing. You're actually just being honest. You're actually just being open with how you feel. And you genuinely might feel this way, right? And if you do, you likely praise that person on a regular. Okay, so someone who praises you on a regular or gives you compliments or sees the value in you like every day is not love bombing. Okay, love bombing is basically it's intentional, number one, and it is done with the purpose and the intention to, let's say, win you back, get you back, you know, get you hooked. You know, they may not really feel that way about you, or they just may be, you know, adding or fluff, you know, like maybe they don't really actually even like you that much, or maybe they just want to keep you for some reason, or they don't want you to walk away, stuff like that. Okay, so it's intentional. Number one, they know what they're doing, they're intentional, and it's like, yes, I like you, Big Daddy, and in your mind you might be going, okay, like you don't really like that person, you don't like that man, but you whatever, you decided to get with this guy, whatever, and you just need him to pay your bills. You'll hear women say that crap all the time. I've seen women, whatever, and they're just like, they don't want that guy. They just want him to pay her bills, whatever, and she just says whatever. Okay, that is like gaslighting and love bombing, right? And they know if they bat their eyes, or him say the same thing to her, you know, you so sexy, you so fine. Oh, I love your cooking, I love this, I love that, or whatever he says, right? And it's intentional, and he's going through, in his mind, he's going through a phase of like wanting to hook you onto his love. Okay? Because right after that, whatever phase, let's say if a couple of days, a week, or whatever, they will tend to go back to normal, or they'll cut that part off. Basically, they'll stop doing that and create an argument or a slight dissatisfaction in you. Like they're upset about something either you did or said or whatever, right? And they're doing it with the purpose of trying to make you jump through hoops. Okay? Like they want to get you addicted to his love, his praise, his compliments, so that you will listen to him and you will do whatever he says, basically. But they want to get you in this cycle of love, no love, love, no love, like emotional manipulation, like that, so that you will, be in like this constant state of want. Like you unconsciously are trying to constantly live up to him, or be good enough for him, or just try to seek his approval, validation, right? And so they will conjure up or create something. So like, let's just say you cook dinner for this person and he always loves your cooking and everything. You might cook the same thing the same way, but all of a sudden he don't like it. All of a sudden it's like, what did you do? And he just creates something, right? And instead of you being like, I don't know, I didn't do nothing different or whatever. Okay, well, if you don't like it, go ahead and call you some Uber Eats or whatever, right? Instead of you doing something like that, right? You're like, oh my God, honey, let me see. I'll remake it for you, okay? Or I'll make this for you instead. Or I will, let me see what else is in. Whatever. You will bend yourself into a pretzel. Okay, you will jump through his hula hoops and, like to try to do whatever it is that this man is asking you to do. And he's doing that on purpose. He's trying to see, can he manipulate you? Can he manipulate you into doing whatever it is that he asks of you? Whatever he's trying to tell you to do, or like, so he can pimp you? I mean, really, and truly, in this particular case, that's what the video was talking about. So he could pimp you out, so he can, get what he wants from you. Okay, so again, I have talked a lot about, sorry, I'm losing my light over here in the, Hold on, I'm in the thing. Okay, let me see. I'm just trying to catch my light. I hate it. It looks dark. I don't know if it's actually recording dark, but anyway. Okay, so anyway, I hope you guys can just see me. Okay, so I'm just sharing this. I'm trying to put this out as much as possible because I've heard of these types of things. I promise you I have. I've heard of these types of scenarios and situations and stuff like that. Like, I've heard of this, but I feel so sorry for women who are falling for this, because I think men do this too. Like, they don't realize it, maybe not for the purpose of pimping their lady out or whatever, right? But to try to get you or keep you in a perpetual state of chasing, wanting, desire, blah. Why do men do this though? Essentially, why does a man feel like he has to emotionally manipulate if he's not trying to pimp you out, but he's doing the same type of thing? Why would a man feel the need to create an emotional yo-yo up and down, you know, kind of thing, where a woman is like gonna constantly try to be validated by him? Why would a man like that? Okay, just think about it. Because a man will typically date how he feels on the inside. Okay, a man will typically date or marry however he feels about himself on the inside. Because a man, and this is what I've been taught, and this is what I've been told, and I have seen this, I mean, and most men want a woman who reflects who he is. Especially a healthy man. It's like, that's my lady, right? When a man, you know, walks into an establishment, or just in general, when he marries somebody, he wants that person to represent him, to like carry his name well, okay, to be his helpmate. I mean, obviously there's lots of reasons, but, and this is like, especially if you are a man who is well established and you do have a healthy self-esteem or whatever, like if you were not forced into an arranged marriage, or you didn't just oops and just get somebody pregnant and decided, you know, and just try to do your responsibility or whatever, for the most part, like when you actually think about who you might want, right? A man wants a woman who's going to represent him well, right? Represent the family well or whatever. Okay? So if that is the case, and that is the general case, I think most men would agree, right? If she's a representation of him, then however he feels about himself on the inside is who he's going to seek out. That's that kind of woman, okay? That is who he's going to be. That's unconsciously who he's going to choose. And so, a man that doesn't have high self-esteem or a good self-esteem, or he himself is always trying to seek validation, or has never received the validation from his father and his mother, or maybe he had a broken home, he grew up in a broken home, or he doesn't even consciously know that he has never received the validation from his mother. Especially, it's usually the opposites, right? So like, daughters do tend to want especially validation from their fathers, but they can still want it from their mom as well. But boys, especially to their moms, okay? But if he doesn't actually understand that fact, if he's never actually addressed that root issue, which is part of shadow work, right? He himself may be seeking validation from his own mother, and he never got it. Okay? So that might be who he really is, or how he actually operates on the inside, which is why a man like that will tend to, well, actually all men tend to be attracted to somebody similar to their mother. Tend, not always, but a lot of times. Okay? And it's a very unconscious thing. And a lot of times, if it's unconscious, a lot of times it's not always the best healed, the best thing for them. But anyway, it happens, right? And it's because they're trying to seek validation unconsciously through that person. But a lot of times he will actually, you know, like that is the kind of person that he has attracted. She's trying to, you know, seek validation, and he might not even know. Like I said, this may be a conscious and an unconscious thing. Like I think it could be 50-50 because I have seen this happen, right? But if a man does this in a relationship, but he's not trying to pimp you out, but he's just in general putting you on this emotional roller coaster, or constantly putting you in situations where you turn into this like yuppie puppy dog, like you know, constantly around him, okay, you know, trying to seek his approval and everything. And to him, he might unconsciously just look at that as love. He might just think, well, this is how women show love. You know, they're annoying. They'll call you 24/7 or whatever. They'll chase you down or whatever, you know, and you know, be super demanding, you know, whatever, like, or just all these different things, right? And he might identify that as love because of, you know, like what's going on the inside. He's not, and so and like unconsciously he is like maybe showing love or whatever, being loving, and one day and the next day he's MIA, missing, or maybe, you know, especially in these type of unhealthy type of relationships and stuff, like men like that, they'll tend to cheat, and put that other woman or whoever his main person is or whatever in a competitive type of situation, you know, or try to make her feel like she needs to compete for his love. I mean, all of that, all of that is toxic. And the only woman who will do that willingly all the time or whatever, or allow that type of thing to happen, is a woman who is trying to seek validation from that man, and maybe unconsciously from her father or mother or whatever, right? So again, your partner or a man may only, you know, he may or may not be doing this on purpose or consciously, but no doubt he is still doing it. Like he is still kind of trying to trip you up emotionally, okay, to try to get you to react. Because your reaction and you overreacting or acting crazy or, you know, whatever, you know, slicing his tires or whatever, you know, speaks love to him or whatever, you know. And in keeping you on this emotional roller coaster, okay? Because let me just say, like, at some point, usually a woman, if you are a woman who either you've gone through experiences, you had good parents, you understand psychology, I don't know, whatever. But at some point, you mature up, or you just get to a point where you're like, yeah, I don't bend myself into pretzels for no man. I don't bend myself into a pretzel for a woman. I'm not going to bend myself into a pretzel for a client. You understand what I'm trying to say? Like, at some point, you just come to this place in life where you're like, yeah, I am who I am. Okay, I can change. Everybody can change if they want to, right? I will change if I feel that there's a need to change certain things. But like, you know, when you get to know yourself, you know your limitations, you know what you're good at, you know what your capabilities are, you know what your body needs, how your body needs to be treated. Okay, for example, like when you're young, you might be able to do these jobs that are like, you know, 8 to 12 hours of a day, you know, on your feet, super demanding all day long. And you might be willing to do that type of a job or something like that because you're young, your body can handle it. As you get older and you're like, yeah, no, my ankles, this back, this hip, you know, this hip, I've had this surgery, that surgery, whatever, you know, I've had a couple babies, whatever, right? And you are like, yeah, no, I can't do that kind of job. And I'm not bending myself into a pretzel for that. No amount of money is going to be enough to make myself do that, right? Because you just mature up. And so, and if you get with a guy who is like, yo, you talk too colorful, you know, you talk too much, you know, you talk too loud, too fast, too this, too that, you know, it's like, man, you are so right 100%. You are so right. I do talk fast. I do talk a lot. And that is my default. The likelihood of that changing is very low at this point, right? Because I'm a talker. I've accepted that I'm a talker and a communicator. And that would, for me, it's like, I'm not betting myself into a pretzel for you. I'm not going to sit here and try to withhold my words, not talk very much, not talk very loud, be a mouse, not get dramatic, not be super crazy, not be spicy, no flair, and, jump through hula hoops, bend myself into a pretzel, all to make sure that, I don't upset you. Okay? Why? Because as a mature woman and a woman who's already accepted herself, her basic personality, and likes herself, because I know I always have good intentions, I'm not evil. I'm not out to hurt nobody, whatever, right? But when you kind of get to that point, you're just like, no, that's not going to work for me. I would rather just not put myself in a situation where I have to, let's say, work in an office and I have to be super quiet like a mouse. And I have to answer the phone like real quiet. That would be crazy, right? Because for somebody like me, who is just kind of naturally boisterous or whatever, it's very, very difficult. Now, could I do it on occasion? Yes. Or could I do it if I really wanted to? Yes. But again, when you bend yourself into a pretzel, what do you look like? At the end of the day, a pretzel. You won't look your best self. You won't actually be embracing your best self, or you are not going to be living your best life because you are literally keeping a lid on yourself, right? And trying to, manipulate you, your body, your voice, your actions, your wants, your desires, or whatever to suit the other person's needs. Okay? Now, there are times in life that you have to do that. There are times in life where you do genuinely have to do that. For example, you are in a hospice center and you are, saying your last goodbyes to your family member, okay? And you have to be quiet. And you can't do maybe an act how you want to, right? Why? Because this is the environment that you're in. And you're there for a purpose, right? Then it's okay. All right? It's like for women, okay? And if you're an older woman, you understand when you have to put on a girdle and you have to suck that in, and you could do it on stage, right? For that 20 minutes, 15 minutes, or whatever, while you're performing. And then what happens as soon as you come home? The bra comes off, the girdle comes off, the shoes come off. I mean, if you got a wig, a weave, whatever it is, everything gonna come off, right? Because you're like, no, it's about time for me to live my best life. I need to relax. I need time to be myself, whatever, right? Because why? You can't stay constrained or in an environment that's not really for you for very long. Okay? And when you do, that's abuse. That's just what it is. Self-abuse. That is abuse. Because that's just what it is. You are allowing yourself. It's self-abuse because you are keeping yourself in that situation. Now, again, that man in that video was looking specifically for girls, women, young women, and those who were young-minded, immature, whatever, who would fall prey to that type of yo, back and forth. I need to please you. I want to make sure you're happy, whatever. Now, let me just get one thing straight. When I love somebody, and I love them deeply, and I'm committed to them, yes, I do want to make them happy. Not at my expense, not at the price tag of my happiness, or no longer definitely at the price tag of me being able to fulfill certain dreams of mine and things that I want to do. And certainly not just to have some rent paid or have a car payment paid. Okay? Because what I have learned through my experiences is that men come in all different shapes and sizes. Just like girdles and bras, okay, women? Men come in all different shapes and sizes. So when one don't fit right or whatever, I'm not saying you just throw this away. What I'm saying is you just not with the right one. The right one is going to like your crazy. The right person for you is going to embrace who you are. He is going to like all the little things that make you, you. He's going to think that's unique and special and love it. Because, like, for example, I'm going to give you a perfect example. Even just me doing, like, videos, okay? I've had past relationships where it was like, no, don't video record this. Don't do that. I don't want you doing that. I don't want you doing that. You know, people are going to try to rob us, come into our house or whatever. You're going to be robbed, raped, killed, shot, murdered, you know, all this kind of stuff. Like, okay, bad stuff happens, but it's just like, no, that's my privacy. I mean, it was a no. It was just a no. Didn't like it. From several, okay? Then I remember one day, while even still in one of those relationships, I met somebody who came to the house to take care of some work or something. I don't know, he was there for something. And he saw all my gift baskets and all my stuff around the house and just who I, like, the stuff I'm into and everything, you know, makeup and everything. And even me doing videos. And he was like, you need a microphone. You need to do this. Oh my gosh. He gave me so many tips. And he was like, oh wow. Like, he was amazed. Okay. Same, you know, so like a man about the same age. Okay. But one was more open to videos and doing YouTube or being online and not scared of that kind of thing, or just making gift baskets, or could see that, you know, I have an entrepreneurial spirit. I like to do different type of things, you know. And the others were like, no, basically stay home, do what I tell you, you know, like, don't do this, don't do that. It was like a straitjacket. Like, I'm in a straitjacket. Okay, in a straitjacket with one man, but over here I could be with a different person, and it's like, or a different man, which has a totally different view, a totally different outlook. Okay, not, you know, so not to say that, you know, you just up and leave relationships for any old thing. That's not the case, but it's good if you know, if you could try to discover these things, get the truth from the person you're dealing with from the beginning. Okay, that he's not wearing a mask and not faking, lying, manipulating, acting single when he's really not single, pretending to be somebody he's not, yada, yada, yada. If you can get all this stuff from the very beginning and make sure they're okay with you're crazy, you're wild, you're loud, you're boisterous. Now, I'm not talking disrespectful, okay? Because, no, there's no excuse to be disrespectful, unloving, unkind, mean, condescending, underhanded, passive-aggressive. All of that's toxic. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay, but you can, you know, like I said, if you are, like, especially, like, think about it, like, certain cultures, like Spanish cultures, whatever, who are just kind of boisterous or whatever, right? Okay, but if you're getting with a guy who is like used to a very quiet household, or just is used to something different, or wants something different, he just wants something different because that's just what he likes. He just wants a more quieter, calmer, stay at home, don't work, don't make videos, don't make baskets, don't work, or just, you know, in general, do whatever he says. Okay, then, you know, someone like me would not be the right fit. Why? Because the whole, healed, confident woman that I am today is like, yeah, I don't bend myself into pretzels. I don't do that. I don't jump through hula hoops. I'm not going through ups and downs, like, you know, any emotional manipulation. I prefer to be in love every single day. I prefer to make love every single day. I'm not trying to do this, but I don't need validation. I got validation from my parents. I got validation from my mother and my father, my grandparents. I got validation. I am not seeking validation in a relationship. So, therefore, that type of a pimp, he would not be able to pimp me. It wouldn't work. I would be like, okay, I don't make you happy. Deuces, you know, like, okay, I'm not the one. Okay, because especially, like, as you get older, you start losing patience. Like, you just don't have patience for a lot of, you know, mishmash. You lose patience for that. It's like, nah, you're just trying to live your best life. And, you know, bottom line, you know what your goals are. Bottom line, my goal is this, this, and this, and this. And your goal is this, this, and this, and this. We're not a match. We might even be like, you know, physically attracted to each other. We might even be attracted to each other like as friends or whatever, you know. But in a marital relationship, okay, your goal might be this, and you might be trying to pimp women out, pimp me out, I don't know, seek validation or whatever, right? But that's not my goal, right? So it's like, you can ask a man, like, okay, what are your intentions with me? Or what are your intentions in general in having a relationship? And he might say marriage. And if he asks me, I might say marriage. And so you can have two people who are in agreement with what your intentions are and what your goals are in a marriage or in a relationship, which could be, you know, long-term commitment, right? But still be going in opposite directions like this, okay? And what you want out of the relationship, okay? You both might want to be married, but if I want friendship and love making, you know, happy memories, just creating good memories, and overall ease and enjoyment, and being able to just more or less be myself, not having to bend myself into a pretzel or be in a straitjacket or withhold myself altogether, okay, you know, or jump through his hoops or become his servant, or, you know, just basically cook his dinner, wash his meals, you know, rub his feet, whatever, okay, a maid or something, or pop out babies or whatever, okay? Like, if that's what he wants, because that's what he wants, right, in a marriage, but it's not what I want, you know, like, I don't want to pop out babies. I'm not trying to do that, you know, and I'm not trying to stay at home and cook all day long. Can I cook? Yeah. Can I cook a couple times a week and then, you know, freeze some meals? Yeah, because I'm big into that. I like to have my deep freezer. And, you know, I happen to like to cook, but I don't like to be forced to cook, especially like if I'm working late or whatever. The last thing I want to do is come home and try to cook. If anything, you cook for me, right? But like, I don't want to be forced or be made to feel like, well, you're working late or you're, you know, whatever, right? So just because you might have the same intentions, what you need to be asking is, okay, after you ask that, the next thing you need to ask is, what do you want out of the relationship? What are you seeking to get? Are you seeking companionship? Are you seeking babies? Are you seeking a party woman? Are you seeking a trophy? Or are you seeking a woman you can pimp? I mean, look, some women want to be pimped. I mean, and if she's in her right mind and that's what she wants, and that's how, you know, hey, whatever, to each his own, right? I'm not here to judge nobody. If you want to be a willing escort or a willing whatever, okay, that's between you and him or whatever. But hey, it's good to be honest, and that's great if y'all could match up on that, right? But like, in other words, when you think about what you actually want, you know, out of the relationship, do you want somebody to talk to? You know, do you want a business partner? Somebody who can give you good ideas, somebody who can, you know, whatever, keep you on track, keep your goals on track, all of that kind of stuff, right? You have to think about that. And to be able to express that and to be able to say that means you have given it some actual thought, okay? And that's good. That is healthy. That's what needs to be said so that you can create good, wholesome, loving, relationships that are in unity, that are on the same page, marriages and things that can stand and last and be very strong, okay? Sometimes you do, you know, by hook or by crook, right? Or by chance or by God, a lot of times through God, through prayer, you will run into your, to a true soulmate, somebody who really does get you. Naturally, they just get you. You just get them. And they do, you know, promote you, or they love you. They're not doing any time but weird manipulation, emotional, up and down, yo-yo, trying to get you to chase them. Okay, and I think that a lot of times also too, I want to make sure that I express it. If you go online and you type in all this stuff on YouTube and everything, you're going to find all these videos with these young-minded, immature people. I'm just keeping it real. Young-minded, immature individuals who will say, ignore her so she'll run after you. Ignore him so he'll run after you. That's manipulation. That's wrong. Now, there are definitely times that you need to pull your energy back but not just to get somebody to chase after you, not to get a rise out of somebody, not to try to make somebody feel like they need to try to get your approval or to always be in want after you. No, that's what a true soulmate is. A true soulmate is going to want you every morning, every day. They're going to always feel that need, or they're going to always like want your energy. If you have to do that type of thing, that type of manipulation, number one, it's immature. Number two, it is wrong. And you'll never be blessed by that type of behavior. You'll never get blessings for that. And also, it's very immature. So don't follow that advice, especially as you get older, okay? As you're older and you're like, yeah, I don't have time for all that. I don't have time for that. Like, I'm not trying to do it. Like, if a guy is like, you know, does like that, like is going to try to ignore me or try to do something like that or whatever, he's just going to get, he's not going to get a woman who's going to chase after him. He's just going to get a woman who's like MIA, gone. Okay, because she doesn't need like someone like me, or a real woman, or a mature woman. As you get older and everything, you're like, nah, I don't have time for that. I don't know what kind of time he's on. I don't know what he's thinking or whatever. He's just going to get a woman that's gone. A woman that has disappeared. A woman that is like not in front of him. Okay? Because that only works on childlike women, immature women, or women who need validation, or women, you know, who are not understanding that that's kind of like a crazy cycle. That's not healthy in relationships, okay? So if you do that, you need to check yourself and ask yourself, why are you doing that? If you do that. Because if it's not to purposely pimp that woman out to make some money off of her, but you are still doing that because you like to get a rise out of women, or let's say you like to argue, you want to argue, or you want to debate, or you like to debate because you like to get a rise out of your partner because that's what you grew up with, and because maybe she's decided to take a nap or calm down or whatever, and you're like, oh, she doesn't love me anymore because she's not acting crazy. I need to get her to, you know, jump around me and jump to these, you know, whatever. And so let me just create an argument or whatever, okay? That's an unhealthy pattern to be in. That's very unhealthy, and it's very toxic. And you know, the quicker you know this stuff, the quicker you recognize these types of things in people, like, you know, they either are going to continue to do that, or they're going to recognize it in themselves at some point. They're going to realize that I'm being toxic, or I've been toxic. I didn't know I was unconsciously doing this, or I'm on purpose doing this. And if they know they're doing it on purpose, and they know it, and they still do it, well, you reap what you sow. You will reap what you sow, depending on your intentions behind that type of behavior, okay? God will make sure that you get whatever you put out. That's just what it is. You reap what you sow. The Bible says that. You reap what you sow. Some people call that karma. Whatever, you will absolutely get that back. That's just what happens. That's just the way life rolls. So, especially when you're doing it on purpose. But if you recognize that in yourself, and you have, you understand that maybe you grew up in a toxic household, or you've been employing some of these tactics that you'll see online from these youthful type of energies, people who are just wanting to give out advice based on whatever they read, psychology or whatever, and it's not coming from real life, you know, and maybe older woman, biblical Christian, or if you don't believe in any of that, just in general from somebody who is experienced or whatever, like you just like, oh, let me just ignore her. No. But when somebody is actually treating you wrong, they're not, or whatever, or they're just whatever, there are different times that you do need to pull your energy back, but not for the purpose of making somebody chase. It's for the purpose of you clearing your mind, getting your head right, or maybe to create safety for yourself, or maybe somebody is kind of, you know, or you're not sure what to think. Maybe you feel unsafe, you know, or maybe you need to pray. You have to meditate, whatever. I mean, I got into it with this one guy. I remember a couple years back, and I was at his house. We were hanging out, And I don't know, he got a phone call or something, and he ended up getting busy and doing whatever, and then I think doing work and stuff like that in his garage and everything, and he was just basically not paying attention that I was still there, or that I was there, you know, like putting me off. Like I was sitting for about, I don't know, 20 minutes or so, I don't know. And it was just like, what's going on over here? Because I could be doing other things, is what I'm thinking. I could be doing other things with my time. If you got to be busy, or you got to decide to go, you know, work or whatever, take phone calls, whatever you're doing. Okay, whatever he was doing. I wasn't spying in on him in the garage, all right? And I don't know, just whatever he was doing. It just sounded like he was on the phone or something. I don't know. But it was as if I had all night or whatever, right? We didn't live together. We were just hanging out or whatever, talking. Anyway, I picked up my bags and was like, yeah, I'll see you whenever. I said, I don't have time for this. I gotta go. I mean, because quality time obviously is my love language, but more than that, I felt disrespected, right? And I was like, yeah, I gotta go. I feel some type of way right now. So, you know, I need to, you know, we need to take a little bit of a timeout or whatever. I will call you tomorrow, or I will call you at the end of the week. I don't remember what I said, but I did give him like a specific time, like, because I knew I was feeling heated on the inside and disrespected, but I knew I did not want to respond and react to him in a unloving, disrespectful way, right? So I know when I start feeling that burning sensation inside of me, my blood starts boiling, or I start I know to retract, pull my energy back, retract, because I know that I'm going to respond disrespectful and it could be a hot mess. I've learned this through experience, right? But I'm not pulling back to make anybody chase or to create confusion, manipulation. I'm not trying to pimp nobody out. You know, it's like, and I'm giving a time. I'm going to say, I'm going to call you in a few days or whatever, right? So in other words, I'm not trying to ignore you or anything like that. It's just, this is not working for me. I need a minute, right? For whatever reason, right? And that's exactly what I did. And that's exactly how, in that way, it creates like it's responsible. That's a mature, responsible way to respond to someone when you need to pull your energy back for whatever reason, and not create a chasing kind of dynamic out of immature reasons, right? And so, anyway, yeah. So basically, just remember, I'm just checking my, okay. So just remember, you know, to ask yourself when you're dealing with these relationships, these different men and everything, just ask yourself, like, am I being manipulated right now? Like, is this person trying to get something out of me or whatever? You know, like, what's going on here? Is this a yo-yo effect, or is this happening all the time? Or is this, you know, man trying to create a chasing or, you know, a validation, you know, trying to make you feel validated from him kind of thing, like, or truly, it could just be a mishmash of energies, of personality styles, communication styles, and you're just not a good fit. You're just not a good fit, right? Because nobody wants to stay in a straitjacket or be bent into a pretzel or jump through hula hoops. Nobody wants to feel pimped out long term. That type of stuff creates stress. It creates stress, anxiety, makes your hair fall out, your body responds, reacts in different ways, or whatever, and it's not a good fit. And all you're doing is keeping yourself closed off to maybe finding the right person for you, or allowing God to send the right one for you, to you, okay? Because you'll know when it is. When it's right, it literally just feels right. Not that things are perfect. It's never that things are perfect. It's just that you're able to soothe each other's triggers, or you're able to at least be able to see when you are triggered or when somebody's getting triggered, and the adjustments that you need to make to help that person not feel triggered don't make you feel like you are bending yourself in a pretzel. It's like, for example, you know, your man, you know, in a very easy way, let's say you cook dinner and your man doesn't like what you cooked, right? Like, he doesn't like whatever you made. And you're like, oh, you're like, okay, I'm sorry. You want to order out? Because, you know, he don't want to eat that. And he's like, yeah, babe, you know what? And he pays to get food, right? So in other words, you easily fix the situation, the problem, whatever that is. It's like the adjustment that's required for the two of you to fit makes neither person feel like they're in a straitjacket or like it's an impossible task. You're just an impossible person to make happy. You are an impossible man to satisfy, yada, 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 right? So it's like you can work out problems easily. You can come to agreements easily, you know, or you can rectify things. There's not a whole lot of trauma bonding, you know, chasing back and forth, up and down and all that. Like, I grew up in a household, like I said, my parents, they didn't really argue. I mean, they had very few arguments. I really can only think of one. One that I can actually remember where I actually even, like, I could say they really argued. Everything else with my parents were more like disagreements, and all they ever did was start whispering. They would just kind of, you know, until they just whispered the problem out or whatever they did. I don't know, but they didn't really like yell and all that kind of stuff. There wasn't no toxic stuff. If anything, me, my brothers and sisters, if anybody made my mom yell or anything, it was us. It was us kids, you know, and we drove them crazy. But the two of them, I didn't see a lot of that. So, like, my mom is spicy, just like me. I was raised, like, I'm Italian and black, so I'm definitely spicy. I'm definitely, I'm very dramatic in my flair of speech and everything, and I get that naturally. I get that from my family. And so my mom is the same way, but speaking in this nature and everything, or being this type of way or whatever, is not, it was not argumentative, and it wasn't debate style either. It wasn't like, it didn't mean anybody was mad or anything like that, right? You know what I'm saying? So, like, in other words, we were colorful in our speech, but my parents didn't like argue, so I didn't see this toxic dynamic. What I saw, and then mostly what I ended up seeing was my mom, who was an amazing caretaker to my dad. Literally, like, he had kidney disease and kidney failure for many years, many years, and my mother had to do a lot for him, right? And the love that they had for each other is what carried her through that time. So I saw a lot of, you know, self-sacrificing, but it was willful and willingly, because the love was genuine. The love was there. They just wanted that person's energy. And that's like, when you are with a true soulmate, somebody that you really are supposed to be with, or somebody that you know, are genuinely a good match, you want that person around, and you don't mind making certain sacrifices, doing certain things. You know, it's like when a man really loves his family, loves his wife, you know, he's going to work hard. He might have to work a few extra hours, right? But in his mind, he's like, my wife is worth it, or my family is worth it, right? Because I love them, I want to take care of them, right?